Hey guys, with the changes in the NAR lawsuit, what are you doing to build value? And it should be treat your buyer presentation like a listing presentation. Here we have our listing presentation. Here's our buyer presentation. They're nice thick booklets. But what are you going through so you can have a repeatable system that you can go through to make sure you're building your value with clients, especially now more than ever. We should have, Maryland first face-to-face, gone through by our agency, make sure that they know that we're representing them since we would have fiduciary duties. But like that didn't happen majority of the time. Now it's more important than ever, right? NAR lawsuit that's going in effect. July, things will be changing and so forth. They're starting to change now. Get ahead of things, be prepared. So go through, what are you doing? Like, all right, I look at it as, building value. So we have anywhere from our core values and then client appreciation, but also why use a realtor, right? I mean, what do you do? Think of, the NAR website has 111 things that a buyer agent does, but think of what's specific for you. What are you doing to build value? Like, what's your expertise? Do you know how to negotiate well? Do you have a great rapport with agents in the market? Do you have a great reputation in the market? Also, what lenders are you dealing with? Do they have a great reputation? What is it that you're doing to build that value to the buyer over and over and over? This is so important for you to go through. Listing presentations typically about an hour long. Your buyer presentation should be about an hour long. You're going through these things. Roadmap. We created a roadmap. What does this process look like? Make sure buyers understand. Hey, you're getting on an emotional roller coaster, right? We're going through things. Hey, great. You finally get under contract because multiple offers and so forth in the market. You've gone through comps. You have to, are you on the home inspection? Did you have to negotiate that a little different than normal? Did you end up having to give up home inspection? Hopefully not, because I think that's one of the most things, the one thing you really wouldn't want to get rid of in a contract as a buyer, just because of the issues in homes. Even remodels, we've seen so many remodels have issues. So make sure you're protecting your client, but building the value all the way through. So you're going to find the homes, you're getting under contract, you're getting through inspections, you're getting through appraisal, but it's this, right? It's a roller coaster. Make sure you're explaining that to them. Make sure you're going in depth. Don't make this a 5-minute over the hood. Hey, the one day, hey, we have a 1-day agreement that I'm showing you the property. Great. You may do that for the first time out, but set a strategy session. Make sure you're going through this presentation to build your value. Again, this should be roughly an hour long, going through as a strategy session. Make sure you're telling people what's going on in the market. Hey, these are the comps. This one sold at 103%. This one sold at 105%. This one sold at 99%. But look, they had price reductions and so forth. So make sure you're building that value and showing, because there are so many things that we do as an agent. I was talking to one of my neighbors in Florida. He's from Canada. He's like, man, how is this affecting you guys? I said, thankfully, it's not affecting us much because we go through and we're building value with the client. He said, I see how much that stuff is done by an agent. And he has a son that lives in London. London does not have any buyer agencies. In Europe, a lot of Europe does not have buyer agency at all. They only represent the seller. So if they're representing the seller, they're unrepresented as a buyer. In Maryland, if you're representing the seller, they're unrepresented as a buyer. You can't represent both sides. Dual agency is for the broker, not for you as an agent. His son finally, after 3 years, went under contract in July. He did not settle until April. This was not new construction. So this is going to be a screwed up market if we don't get ahead of it and educate our buyers. Make sure we understand, because there's so much bad information out there. If you turn on the news, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So just be careful. Make sure you are staying ahead of what's going on in the market. How is it going to affect you? It really should not affect you a lot. Because if you're going through, you're figuring out the buyer agency agreement's always been between that buyer and the brokerage, technically you as the agent for the brokerage. That's where the agreement is. It's always been that way. Because you had countless sellers who were like, oh, I'm not signing this because it says I owe you a commission. Yes, the agreement's always been between us. But before, 95% of the time, it was paid by the seller. Now maybe you're going to be 90%, maybe it's going to be higher than that. We don't know where it's going to fall depending on how things, I think it's going to probably get worse before it gets better, right? They're going to go through, we're going to figure out these changes. You're going to see buyers. I don't want an unrepresented buyer on my listing, because that turns into future lawsuits more than likely, right? You have fiduciary duty to the seller, the buyer's unrepresented. Now what? Who's leading them through? No one really. I mean, you're going through as a listing agent, but make sure you're preparing. So more important than ever to have buyer agency. Yes, our seller's still going to pay commission. Probably. Not always, but majority of time. For sale, don't treat it any different than a for sale by owner. Make sure you're going through. Take the time, build the value, find what your client's needs are. Explain to them fiduciary duties. Hey, your interest is well above mine. I'm not chasing a commission. I'm doing what's best for you. So have something that's repeatable. If you need help with something like this, or you're out there, you're trying to figure out what way is up in the market, yes, we're going to have a lot of people exiting the industry. I think that there's probably, I've heard statistics anywhere between 20 to 60%. Keep in mind, 45% of National Association of Realtors agents did not receive a commission last year. So what are you doing to prepare yourself for when July comes? Don't wait until June. Don't wait until July. Make sure you're getting ahead of it. I hope this helps. If I can help you in any way, give me a call, 410-638-9555. Have a great day.